Hello.
Woo! Wow, that was awesome. I was so like, dun, dun, dun. I felt like I needed to be saluting a flag or something. That was
very
fantastic.
inspiring.
Welcome, CryptoComics Nation. I want to introduce Valerie
Hello.
Finnigan, an amazing creator. With me today is Lindsay Winsemius, our marketing director, who keeps me from sounding terrible.
Do my best.
So, wow, that was so awesome, and we're gonna get into that intro videos comic down the road, guys. It's fantastic. But first, we really want to learn about Valerie Finnigan. So, Valerie, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I live here. I live in Idaho Falls with my husband, my dog, and some kids that come and go depending on whether or not school is in session. And that's pretty much it right now.
Well, I would have to disagree because I know a little bit more about you. So, so I know that you actually were in some services, some emergency services. What were those that you participated in?
Fire and emergency medicine.
Oh, wow. So you were a firefighter. How was that?
That was fun. It was fun. It was hard work. It could be at times frustrating. You know, it was dangerous, but it was fun.
Did you ever experience anything like a backdraft? I mean, I've only seen the movies, so.
No, we are usually out of there before it gets to that.
Oh.
Because that's what they call a flashover, when the air itself catches fire.
Oh my gosh. So the air is like heating up, and then it's like a flash bang because the air itself ignites.
Well, you know, all the particles floating around in the air.
Holy criminy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little nervous.
So was that like a job that you did, or was that volunteer in addition to another job?
It was paid call, so
okay.
You know, nothing to make a living off of. We did it because we love the community, we want to serve, and it's fun.
Yeah. Get a swinging axe and stuff. Looks super cool with them outfits. That is fantastic. Right. So aside from that, you got into creating comic books, of course. Can you tell us a little bit about your comic book history?
Okay, well, I started working on a line called Explosive Comics. We were going to do Hero by Force. It was kind of some paranormal superhero spy drama.
Oh, wow.
And my collaborator in that endeavor was serving in the army in Afghanistan, and then Afghanistan again, then Korea. Then, you know what I'm saying, with all these deployments and redeployments, he just said, you know, go ahead and publish that as a collection of novellas. And so that's what I did. That was my first published work, first writing gig I got paid for.
What is a novellas?
I'm sorry?
What is a novella? He said to publish it as novella. What does that mean?
It's not quite a short story, but it's not novel length either.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh, all right, okay, all right. So is it a normal comic book is about 21 pages, a short story is about 10 pages, novel gets into about 100 pages, and it's somewhere in the mix, or is it more like a normal comic book, like about 20 pages?
Well, we didn't do it as a comic because he wasn't able to draw any of it.
Oh, okay.
So it was regular prose with the stories, each maybe about 50, 75 pages each when I rewrote it as as if it was a regular written story, regular prose.
Okay.
And then I got the call from a guy named Clayton Merwin to collect some true stories from the men and women serving overseas. And as an Air Force brat and an Army washout, I had to do it. And then
which is what inspired the intro. Just like Digital Dwight pointed out, an epic intro. But that's what inspired that intro was you actually getting into comics, but military and telling real stories. So the comics that you do are historical in nature, correct?
Yes, they are all. Okay.
Oh, don't worry. They're all a part of the family.
They are all personal accounts. As best as I try to get them as directly as possible from, the people who were there, or if not, their friends, families, people who served with them, and lots and lots and lots of reading.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes some of what I've read even more intense. Release the hounds. She already did. Look at that. Our team has already realized that you got control over the hounds. Release the hounds.
So
that's awesome.
I was backtracking just a little bit. How did you get into writing in the first place?
I always was interested in writing. I was a self-taught reader, and I was always sitting with my dad reading whatever, and I'm like, these people are making up stories. Why can't I do the same?
Right.
The first little story I wrote was the tragedy of how shoes have tongues but don't talk. I was 4 years old.
That's very clever.
My first
attempt
at
so clever.
My first attempt at a comic was a horror comic.
Oh.
When I was 6.
What? Kidding? That's so awesome. How did that? What was the scariest part of your 6-year-old comic there?
The main character was going trick-or-treating, and she rang the wrong doorbell.
Ooh, that is scary.
And Dracula entered the door.
Oh, nice twist.
Yeah.
The real Dracula, Count Vlad, the Impaler.
Yep. Well, Dracula anyway. Movie Dracula.
So did you draw the pictures for that too?
Yes, I did.
We'd love to see it if you still have it sometime.
It was a school project. I'm pretty sure it was disintegrated somehow. But I do know that my teacher had a talk with my mother about that.
Are you kidding?
Oh dear.
It was a Halloween themed school project. What else was I going to do?
I think I would have been.
How dark did it get?
Not very, because I was only 6 after all.
Yeah.
Well, I would have been supporting you 100%. If they would have called me into the office to be like, your kid did this, I would have been like, dang right, where's the blood?
So I don't remember a time when I wasn't interested in writing.
Wow, okay. That's fantastic.
Is that what did you study it in school, or just
I took a few classes here and there. And what really helped me, though, more than anything with my comic book writing was doing theater.
Oh.
And then, because I was familiar with the concept of writing a script, because during my theater years, my life revolved around reading and memorizing scripts. And then I tried just for fun to read screenplays. And that was even closer to what I ended up writing for comics, far more detailed.
Right.
And yeah, so there was that. I had also taken creative writing. In high school, I got my poems and short stories published in whatever local underground zine was still in print in the Boise area.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say those were any good, but
we are our worst critic.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and so there was quite a bit of that, and then my train of thought is totally derailing. Save me here.
Oh no! Hey! So you were going through actually the what got you into writing and the actual things that you have done that really pushed that forward. One of the things that you had talked about was the drama aspect, and in what ways did that draw in the comic book creation? Like what exactly about the drama experience? Because you said that it was that you got into the screenplay writing.
Mm-hmm. And
So
and reading scripts for theater as well as for screen. It was not so much about the drama as it was about the technicalities of writing the script.
So now in a script, now I've never written a script, just so you guys know, I'm not a pro. But in writing a script, you have to do a lot of dictation of the scene, right? So in that reflection, basically, that is kind of what helped you with your creation of your comic books, if I understand correctly. Oh, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Because when I was learning about you, I noticed that you said, you give artists a little bit of range, but you really do kind of you really do set the stage for them, and you even provide pictures and things like that.
Oh yes, mainly because it's a huge convenience for the artist, but it's also a big one for me because that saves me the work of having to write out every little detail. If I have to have a photograph of the person I'm writing about, I don't have to work so hard to describe them. Although the black and white photographs, we with the wasp, we had to work hard to extrapolate things like hair and eye color.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
Whoever I have working with me on my next installment of the Real Women of the U.S. Military, they will have a little more artistic license because we're writing about women who don't really have any photographs of them at all.
Oh, interesting. So how early is this, or what's the reason for that?
Well, it's about the Revolutionary War.
Oh, serious?
Oh, wow, that's so exciting.
A lot of people don't know that, but there were women who were more women than the history books ever indicated that were serving even in active combat.
What?
Really?
All the way from the Revolution.
Oh my gosh,
that's exciting.
That's incredible.
And that's the project you're working on now?
Yeah, it's one I am working on. I am going to still continue working on this, but I'm also going to be spending time on another big project. And we're going to do the big announcement now.
Oh.
Okay, we got a big announcement. Hold on, everybody. Go.
Code Red, the COVID-19 response.
Ah, that's timely. Yes.
So
Yeah, we are seeking stories, and the writers and
Fry's
artists,
offering himself.
the
Look,
entire
Fry's saying, let's
creative
go.
team. We're going to be working directly with people who've been on the front lines of the pandemic, as also with people who have or are struggling with the disease, and communities that have been particularly hard hit. Like especially the Navajo, or the Lakota on the Pine Ridge Reservation, our African American communities. These are, yeah.
So are you looking to, is this an international thing, or are you focusing on a certain region, or?
Well, nationwide.
Okay.
If we
Is this
get
the anthology you had mentioned to me about?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
Anthology. And okay, we need writers to help me out here. We need pencilers, inkers, colorists. We need somebody to distribute it.
Well, that's us.
And so here's the invitation. I'm extending it to all of you. I'm extending it to everybody else. In my vast social network. The time is right. The time is now, and the money is going to go back to. We're going to be donate. It's going to go to the Stories of Service Foundation, which in turn is going to, help fund pandemic relief efforts, food banks, PPE, and testing kits and supplies, all of that.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And I just want to second that, you guys. If you didn't hear the call, I'm going to ring it again. I'm going to ring that bell. She is looking for artists. She is looking for writers. She is looking for people who want to contribute to this anthology of the pandemic. She is basically doing an overview, if I understand correctly, an overview of the pandemic in a relation to the stories from the frontline workers and those cultures and people who were hit hardest.
Teachers too.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yes, of course. Because this is, obviously this year has been insane. And so, what a
great idea. So where can people go if they're interested in being part of this? Like, how do they let you know they're interested?
Okay, you can go to the Stories of Service Foundation's webpage at tsosf.org, or you can look for the Stories of Service on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter and Instagram. But the best way to contact us would be through the webpage or through Facebook.
Okay, and that's Stories of Service.
The Stories of Service Foundation.
Okay. So the Stories of Service Foundation. Yes. All right, fantastic. Guys, anybody out there, any creators out there who want to get involved in this is a good cause. As you heard Valerie here state, they're actually going to be taking the proceeds and donating them to the front lines. Again, the people that it's about. So, what a fantastic project, Valerie.
It's going to get even better. The mission statement of the Stories of Service Foundation is to help veterans process their experiences and learn to express their feelings about them through the comic book arts. So we are going to be assembling little creative teams, and each of them will be working with somebody directly to help tell their story.
Oh, fantastic. That URL, everybody, on Facebook is right there in the screen. So make sure that you guys go there. If you have the opportunity to donate time and energy to this cause, please do. Please do. This is what it's all about. Banding together, making something great like this happen, and using the medium of comics to communicate something awesome Valerie, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for the opportunity to announce this on our show, Jiminy Christmas. I feel so so cool, and I'm not even the one doing it. You're the awesome one.
Just
fantastic.
Yeah. Wow.
And I promise it's going to be a lot of fun, and everybody who works on this. This is going to be very similar to what Clayton Merwin had organized with Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan. You're going to, if you know the people who get involved in this, you're going to find that your family and your family, or if you want to share one of your own accounts, your personal support network is going to expand exponentially.
Yes.
That is so awesome. I actually have a cousin who was in Iraq, and man, this is awesome. Like I really want to tell him about that. Hopefully he's watching. I know he's friends on Facebook, but this is awesome. Yeah. What a great thing. And I really like how you focus on veterans and military. Just awesome because they need our support. They need we should always be honoring and respecting them, and it really is just admirable how much you put that front and center, Valerie. Our
military has been hit particularly hard, especially the Navy.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And so I really want to get stories about the military response to the pandemic. We are at a war here. It's just not against a human enemy.
Right.
But we've got National Guard troops. We've got the Navy hospital ships. And then we've got our non-military first responders, EMTs, our paramedics, and of course the doctors, nurses, and the various kinds of assistants putting themselves at risk to care for the patients.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, trying hard not to become patients themselves.
Right. Yeah, being on the front lines and having to work with that risk on a daily basis, and drawing attention to that and being able to tell that story. It's really neat the way that you're going about this. Again, everybody, the call is out there. She's asking for people to sign up and contribute. Oh, check that out. Fry just mentioned, just forwarded my family and prior service, current service friends. Thank you for all you do, Valerie. Again, this is something so incredible, and I just want to extend, a real thank you that you're putting this project out there. You're spearing it, if you will, heading it up. So people, if you got the opportunity, the Stories of Service Foundation on Facebook is where you can actually go. Creators, I'm talking to you guys out there. Go to the Stories of Service Foundation so that you can have the opportunity to join in this anthology, to really be a part of something that is going to be read by people hundreds of years from now, if you really want to know the honest truth.
Yeah. 101 years ago, there was actually Ernest, something or other Ernest. That was his name. But he was a cartoon character, and he was beating up on people who weren't wearing a mask during the Spanish flu epidemic. 1917 through 1919, right?
Really?
We're reliving history.
Yeah, we are reliving history.
Wow.
Wow.
And
what's up,
it is my personal prayer that we don't repeat it 100 years in the future.
Well, and it's things like this anthology that people can actually be a part of, and really help with, and communicate things. One thing that's unfortunate is because the United States is so vast, people's experiences are different throughout the nation.
Right.
And something like this can really help people understand what other people are going through, you know, because Lindsay, you know, she lives on the opposite side of the states than I do. So I really have no, you know, I don't know what she's experiencing versus what I'm experiencing. This anthology is a real opportunity to kind of draw that together, and people can actually see those stories.
Right. And, you know, there, and I also want to hear from, you know, the marginalized, the highly at risk and the high risk, you know, like someone over here.
Valerie, look at you.
We are going through some really traumatic times ourselves. And we need to be able, you know, okay, let's just say this. When I worked on Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan, we had discovered that using the creation of comic books to process our experiences was really therapeutic. It helped us come to terms with our trauma, to make sense of it, or to just accept that, you know, some things just won't ever make sense. And not to mention, you are working with people who are committed to listening to you, to doing your story justice, and leaving their own political agenda, whatever it may be, out of it. We are not going to twist anyone's words to suit a political agenda. We're just going to you know, the only opinions you're going to see expressed in the book are those of the people we work with.
Experience those things.
Experienced it directly.
That is so excellent. I'll tell you that is so awesome, because, you know, CryptoComics Marketplace, that's one of our founding principles, is we don't believe in editing anybody's work. We don't believe that, you know, in telling people what they need to write because of focus group crap, you know, and the fact that you are coming from that is just so in line, you know. That's a big promise. I really want to speak to anybody and everybody out there who might contribute stories to Valerie. You know, that's a really big thing. Knowing that someone, and if you don't believe me, get into CryptoComics Marketplace. You can sign up through Valerie Finnigan invites, and you can actually check out her stories. They are really incredible, but they're going to give you an understanding and an idea of just how truthful she is to her word, of telling it how it is versus trying to, you know, edit it to make it appealing for a sale. You know, this is real. This is real, and this is the opportunity to get your story heard from you, not from some person who wants to sell something, but actually from you, because that's who Valerie Finnigan is. This is incredible, Valerie. This is so awesome. Yeah, man, you got our support 100%.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I'll level with you. It may be, you know, it may be very hard. We're gonna be telling stories about you know, families losing family members, and or, you know, or some lady who's gone from very healthy to now unable to walk up a flight of stairs. You know, tragic stories of loss, but also some stories of triumph that the media doesn't cover because, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. All of that. It could be very hard, but on the other hand, the connection will be building across whatever socioeconomic political divides we have. That's going to be well worth it.
Oh yeah, uniters, not dividers. Uniters, not dividers. That's exactly what we need to be in this country. Uniters, not dividers. And this is fantastic. Speaking of which, and I'm just gonna kind of start getting into the actual comic that one of the comics, as we talk about this, because I want people to kind of see what we've got going on with your comic, so they can get a feel for the flavor that you bring to the table. So first we have Tiger on the. Oh, go ahead, Lindsay.
I was just going to say, yeah, this is a great example and a good transition, because she was talking about how showing the inspiring stories alongside the tragedy. And I think that is one of the first things I noticed in your comics, is that with both, is that you do a great job of taking the inspiring side of things, but also showing the tragedy and the sadness and how that combines to create this amazing story. So go ahead, Jared.
Well, in this case, David Sawyer was his story was very easy to work with. I was in contact with his family, and I had access to his journals. So even though he was no longer with us, even at the time, I got a very good feel for who he was. And most of this is quoting him verbatim.
Okay.
Or if I couldn't fit it easily into a caption or a word balloon, I would do some cutting and paraphrasing. But it was about telling his story, not mine. So I was going to just use his words and try to do his story justice.
Well, I feel like you did do it justice. The Tiger on the Storm is such a compelling story, and the way that you break it up and the cliffhangers you leave in the comics are so awesome. I freaking love it. But this is Tiger on the Storm Volume 1. There's actually 3 volumes in the marketplace. And is this all of Tiger on the Storm? Was there only 3 that you did?
Yes, there were only 3 issues. It was supposed to be graphic novel length, but due to a lot of issues that come up in very small press, we couldn't get it all out by the deadline, and so I broke it up into 3 different issues, so I could get issue 1 out on January 15th on the anniversary of when Desert Storm started.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Timing is everything.
And here I've got to give an extra big shout out to Richard O'Hara. He is very good at handling the leeway I would give. And he's also very good for a civilian at military humor. And so here we've got, and we're getting into Sawyer's head a little bit here. Here we've got General Brass playing toy cars with Steve, if you notice the Rogers on the back and Field. That's a little there's a little tribute to Stanley and Jack Kirby in there, as well as to Mort Walker with Otto from Beetle Bailey.
Oh my gosh. Wow, I had no idea that there was so much in one page.
Yeah.
He was committed to to having fun, especially with the military humor. Those of us in the military and in emergency services, we tend to develop a very sardonic sense of humor. It's our coping mechanism. But when it when it comes out and and the civilians make sense of it, you're gonna either be shocked or you're gonna be rolling with laughter.
Well, now I have a dark sense of humor. So does that go along with the sardonic? Is sardonic kind of dark?
Yeah, because it's not really dark. It's just he's just talking about the difficulty of finding every Scud missile launcher, or every Iraqi Scud missile launcher they've got. And he says it's like trying to find every Kenworth tractor trailer in Kansas.
I like that analogy.
I was imagining, some sort of mission where they have to take out all the Kenworth tractor trailers in Kansas, and they have to make sure they're not Peterbilts.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Peterbilt American.
Yeah. And as a military brat, I was able to I was exposed to some of that too. And so I knew, and then I of course delved headfirst into it when when doing fire and EMS. It's very similar. Now here we had okay, turn back a page. I was very committed to remembering our prisoners of war, and so I made sure that their names, the names of those men who were paraded on Iraqi TV like that, they are all in there.
Really?
That they're getting recognition, and you're going to see towards the end of issue 3, all the American POWs got a nice little tribute in there.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah, that is, and that is really awesome. That's the kind of honorable thing that the comic books kind of solidifies. You know what I mean? It not solidifies. That's not the word I'm going for, but it makes it last longer. Lindsay, what would be a good word for like enshrines or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it does. Yeah, it remembers them. It makes sure that people who maybe we don't talk about or think about, like, draws it out. Yeah.
It's a commemoration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. That's really important because, what a tribute to their families, because those, I mean, that's the ultimate sacrifice, in my opinion, which is a major sacrifice when your family goes out and fights for your freedom and fights for a way of life and protects their family, and then they either A, get killed, or B, they get captured or disappear in the conflict. That's something that really like rocks you. It's a really scary thing, and so the very fact that you enshrine them in these comics is so incredibly amazing, Valerie. So incredibly amazing.
And I wanted to cover Desert Storm too, because it seemed to kind of get lost in the shadow of our next entanglement with Iraq. And I really wanted to focus my attention as a writer on the lesser known aspects of our history.
Yeah, no, that's what I loved about this, is that it was, I didn't know as much about it. And so I was able to, when I was reading it with my kids, they didn't even know what that was. And so this was a great little way to introduce them to a part of history that they'd never even heard of. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and a lot of people kind of glossed over the Iraq War, like, oh, we don't want to look at that. But, seeing it from this perspective, being able to like read about lives that were involved in it, it really brings it home.
Little baby Daniel Sawyer in there.
Yes.
Learning how to climb out of his crib, and his dad's not there to witness that milestone.
Fighting for our freedoms.
Yeah, I like that family aspect balance with like what's going on here in the war, and then what his family is doing at home. And
yeah, that is something I have found lacking in a lot of military comics. So I was really glad that, that Sawyer discussed in his journal what he, what the news from home was. And I was able to confer with his family to get some more of the details, because I really wanted to, to leave that in there. To let people know that, when we're at war, it affects the whole family, not just the people going out fighting. And Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, the family aspect really like pulls at the heartstrings.
Now here we've got a lot of cool stuff. I was really surprised when I I put it out there that I was looking for somebody to draw Tiger on the Storm, and I said it's about the Air Force 23rd Tactical Fighter Wing, the Flying Tigers. You're going to get to draw A-10s. I was surprised at the response. I got a whole lot of people saying, "Oh yes, I want to do it. I want to do it."
They're one of the coolest looking fighter jets ever. That's why.
Yeah,
they were made famous with G.I. Joe.
Oh yes, and although
didn't you work with the guy who did G.I. Joe?
Well, Larry Hama actually he wrote the foreword for Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Oh.
And we have been, at the very least, I wouldn't say just Facebook friends, but we are close Facebook friends. You know, we count each other as actual friends. And, you know, and we've been corresponding with each other ever since. I regretted, though, that he made his version of the A-10 a Cobra aircraft.
Well, okay, I was gonna say I think it was Cobras, but it still looks super cool.
Very distinctive looking aircraft. One that I kind of had to let grow on me because I was around all the high flying, fast flying, pretty boys of the sky. The F-16s and such.
Top Gun.
Well,
the F-16.
Yeah, those weren't actually F-16s. Those were like a Navy variant of them.
Oh,
because the Navy's aircraft can't be the same because they all have to be able to land on an aircraft carrier.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, and Fry, we miss you too, buddy. Don't worry. Fry's crying now because he's.
It's short now, and he smiles nice, and he posts a lot of pictures of his dog.
Oh, there's a creator willing to help out.
Thank you, Exolic, who I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing your name. But thank you. I'd be happy to work with you.
Yeah, he does. You'll be able to find him in the marketplace. TCT Comics has I think S0 right now is in the marketplace. But yeah, see, we already got a creator.
Yeah,
put forth a little bit of energy towards a tremendously awesome project. That is fantastic.
And where can I find pictures of the previously mentioned puppy? You have to be friends with him on Facebook. Sorry.
Andrew.
Now my probably my one biggest moment in when I had to actually sit down and grab a paper bag because I was going to hyperventilate was in Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan, when Clayton was assembling the creative teams to work on the individual stories. I had to sit down when he told me that Peter Palmiotti was going to be doing the inking and Tom Orzechowski doing the lettering. And he was the one who had the distinctive X that was featured very prominently in all the Uncanny X-Men titles.
Holy cow! Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And he was my favorite letterer since I was knee high to a peanut. But he found it a little strange though when that I was all excited. I wanted him to sign the book once it came out. And he was like, really? Nobody really cares about the letterer. And I'm like, all right, you made it legible.
Yeah.
The writing.
Lettering is so important. I've actually,
Yes.
you know, I don't know much, but what I do know, it has been reiterated to me over and over and over again that the letterer is pinnacle, because you're right. It communicates the story and helps you follow the story.
And if it's illegible, you failed at your job. Although I have to confess, there was some comic book career advice that he gave me that I did not take. He said, "You don't want to go into lettering."
Oh, well, we all understand. There's no fame.
Yeah. Oh, a shirt giveaway. Yeah, go like and share the Stories of Service Foundation's page for a chance to win an exclusive WASP t-shirt Fry will design.
Ooh.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Wait. How do I get over there? Wait. Hold on here.
I'm gonna go right now. Just
go to Facebook. And go to Facebook and type in the Stories of Service Foundation in the search bar, and that's what will come up.
Just one
it's
second.
got a little logo that looks like 3 chevrons.
What? He said open to everyone except me? That's not even fair, dude.
Oh, Jared, I think we could do something about that.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. Because I'll tell you what, sometimes I feel picked on. You know? It's just not fair. That's going to be, I'll tell you what, that is a really, 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 really cool sounding, because I can't wait. I'm looking forward to talking about the Wasp, because that,
I've been waiting for.
Yeah, that comic book rocked me, man. It was like, whoa. So this is cool. But I actually want to, Fry might get mad at me, so just so you guys know, but I want to pull this, the stories.
The Stories of Service Foundation.
There it is. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up and share my screen real quick just so people can see. Okay, so hold on real quick.
Tell us, how did you get started with that organization?
I started it.
Oh, wow. That would make sense why you're the president, right? I noticed that. So can you tell just a little bit about it?
Well, it's pretty simple. We're committed to helping veterans and first responders, and now the people directly affected by the coronavirus, processing their experiences and learning self-expression through the comic book arts. It's similar to the mission statement of one of the organizations we support, Arts in the Armed Forces, which was founded by Marine and actor Adam Driver.
Okay.
The only difference being is that his organization uses the literary and performing arts, theater to be specific, whereas our organization uses the literary and visual arts. So small difference there. Also, the books we sell, we put the proceeds toward various endeavors to help our veterans, to help our first responders, and to help with the coronavirus response.
Okay. Really great.
So yeah, it's so that's.
Well, I did get, just so you guys know, I did get the page up there so people can see and recognize when they hit that page, but I did get yelled at, so I had to jump off of it real quick.
Okay. Anyway, all right, so on with the Wasp now.
Oh!
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, I did want to show one thing before we got to the Wasp, which was the POW that in book 3 that you had mentioned. I really wanted to show that spread. I know that it was a really important spread to you, so I just wanted to give it the light of day for people to actually see. This is the American POWs, correct?
Right, and on the far. I guess, on your far right, if you're looking at it as a reader, there's Rhonda Cornum, and she, for a variety of reasons, was a particular inspiration to me.
Is that this one?
A real over here, yeah. Yeah.
Going
where
along
I'm pointing.
right here.
At the very end, she's got both of her arms in slings.
Okay, right here.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
I'm just circling so they know which one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And I'd first read her story when I was, when I was still a teenager, just after Desert Storm. And,
watch out.
Her concern for her fellow POWs was nothing short of amazing. And here, she was also mistreated, but she did not let that get her down. She was like, okay, yes, I'm injured, but my tooth didn't just explode out of my head from being shocked. So, I'm not going to come home disfigured. I can still walk. My arms will heal. I'm really focusing on the positive. When all of them were in fear for their lives. Mm-hmm. And wow. I think we need more of that in times like these too, personally.
Yes.
I gotta say something. Did you say getting shocked until your teeth explode out of your head?
Yes, that happened to that guy over there.
This one right here?
Yeah. All the men were. He's the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he had it the worst. Obviously, all of them were tortured in a number of ways that were Geneva Convention violations.
Right.
And yet they endured, and
that's incredible.
Bringing them home. Oh my gosh. And that
mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I feel you.
I had to do that spread because because I know people who've had sons or daughters, brothers, sisters, fathers who'd been captured or who had gone missing, missing in action or missing in service. And I know how it affects them at home. And I can't imagine just wanting to go home and living in day-to-day existential fear like that. What moral and spiritual fiber it takes to get through that, and the courage it takes to reach out and say, hey, I need a battle buddy here. I need someone to call me up and talk to me. Yes, one of the best payoffs that I got out of doing this sort of work, it wasn't money. I don't make a dime off of doing this. It was knowing that after a particularly brutal incident, I had people I knew I could talk to. When I started getting the flashbacks and the chronic insomnia and all of that, I had battle buddies. So I could pick up the phone instead of, a whole bunch of things that I didn't really want to pick up.
Right.
And, I could depend on them to help. And it was mutual too. And you know, we have saved each other's lives.
Wow. Yeah.
But it takes guts to admit it, especially because even now, even having like a minor delayed stress reaction is still stigmatized. Full-blown PTSD is still stigmatized. And, the best way to address it is to say, away with, to just disregard the stigma and come out with it and just talk about it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily mean, going out in public, say, I've got PTSD among my other concerns. It's, it could be just, having somebody to call.
Right.
Reaching out and making the call.
Mm-hmm.
Making that connection.
Yeah.
I love the term battle buddy. Mm-hmm. Like that really makes a lot of sense. And I hope and pray that, everyone out there who needs a battle buddy finds a battle buddy. Because that is incredible. This picture is truly like inspiring, because POWs, I mean, we still have POWs, if I'm not mistaken.
We still have MIAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, being brought home to be buried here with all due honors. And even among the WASP, there was one who is still missing. We haven't found her plane. We haven't found any sign of her, and it's been what, 75, 76 years now.
Is that the one you talk about in your book, that in the WASP book that?
No, that is not Marian Taves. That's Gertrude Tompkins.
Okay.
They've been looking for her plane, like off the Santa Monica coast. But yeah, so here we go with the WASP.
The WASP, the one we've been waiting to cover.
The book of the hour.
Nobody tease me, okay? Nobody tease me if tears start falling, because this is an emotional roller coaster ride, everybody. So I'm really tough.
And it was important to me that I work with women veterans on this. Monami Kuhn is an Army veteran, and she would probably get embarrassed and be like, "No, don't say it." But she is one of the first women from our area, from Idaho and Montana, to not serve attached to an Army airborne unit, but actually in an active combat MOS.
Oh wow! So, she's Idahoan.
Yeah. Way to go, Idaho.
We breed the best.
Yeah. And so I wanted to, I especially wanted to work with her, especially since, we're focusing on women's stories. And I said, of when you're ready, I would love to see your story. But only when she's ready.
Right. Hey, yeah. And we're patient.
And the proceeds from this book go to Arts in the Armed Forces and the Women Veteran Social Justice Network. People who are actively helping our veterans process their experiences, or in the case of the Women Veteran Social Justice Network, actually involved in direct action to address our female veterans' unique physical and emotional needs. And so I was like, yeah, it's one thing for me to say, yeah, I support our women vets. It's quite enough, but I really wanted to put my money where my mouth was.
Well,
And
that's
Valerie
that's
Kuhn, yeah. She's got quite a lot of art to put in her portfolio. I hope it. I'm promoting her work. She is currently having an art exhibition over at Hippie Down on Broadway in Idaho Falls, in downtown Idaho Falls. Yeah, it's a new little establishment in the old Eagle Rock area.
So are these paintings or what kind of
Paintings
art?
and pencil and ink drawings
Oh,
and a few prints. Yeah. So yeah, if you're in the area, go on down there and check it out.
yes. Yeah, and her name again was
Monami Kun.
Monami Kun.
Yes.
Wow. Now, Fry asked, where can anyone buy a signed copy of the Wasp?
Oh, you're gonna have to go directly to me.
and where would, and if they were to want to buy one, do you have like how would they go about that?
Well, yeah, contact me. Pay me directly on PayPal, first of all, and contact me with your shipping information.
Through Facebook? Can they use Facebook to contact you?
Yes. I am on Facebook. Look at Valerie Finnigan, Finnigan. And yeah, I will.
Yes.
I don't have very much in stock at the moment, but I'd be happy to to send signed copies to whoever wants one.
Okay, you hear that? So if you guys go to Facebook, Valerie Finnigan, and you can see her name scrolling across the bottom because she's actually allowing you to join the marketplace right now. You can actually ask her for a signed copy of the Wasp, and the Wasp is incredible. It really is an incredible story because I didn't realize that the women pilots, they weren't allowed in battle. And actually, they showed up the men pilots, which I thought was hilarious.
Of course.
With the bombers, they were obviously very good pilots, but it was surprising that they weren't allowed in battle. Yet the jobs that they were doing were very dangerous due to the poor quality of craftsmanship.
Oh well, for like the target towing missions, some of the planes they used were just refurbished only a little bit, and some of them, they had to test. They were test pilots. They had to test not only brand new aircraft, but aircraft that had just been repaired.
Right.
Okay. So something had gone wrong. Yeah, because in the Wasp there was one pilot and smoke started appearing, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, if I eject because their parachutes didn't fit snug enough, I am gonna die for sure." And it's just like, what?
Yeah, the Wasp were given they were given flight suits and parachute harnesses that were made for men. So they didn't fit, and the parachute harnesses didn't adjust down enough to fit a woman who was like 5'1.5" and 100 something pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and there was what happened to Mabel Rawlinson. When her plane crashed and she could not get out of the cockpit because there was a hatch failure.
Mm-hmm.
Camp Davis, where she was stationed, was notorious for for making the Wasp fly subpar aircraft.
Probably because they had subpar colonels and majors and sergeants that were all.
It was so bad that General Hap Arnold had to directly intervene.
Really?
Yes, and
that's so aggravating.
Yep. You got to treat the ladies right here.
It's just, you know, I mean, they're serving the country. They're doing exactly what the men are doing, and I'm sorry, in a lot of ways better. Get over yourself, men. You know, behind every great man is a greater woman, generally speaking, unless they married a man and then it's a greater man. But still, you know my point. You know, women contribute so much. They do so much. They do the most thankless job on the planet, which is being a mother. You know, that is the hardest job. I mean, I had no idea what women went through until my wife abandoned me with my kids, and I thought I was like on an island by myself waving a white flag, like, please help me, I surrender. You know, women are incredible, and they sacrifice so much, and they do so much. And reading The Wasp was so emotional in that regards, because, you know, I was getting angry, I was getting, you know, frustrated, I was getting pissed off, just seeing how they were being treated and what they were going through, and they kept going. They kept doing it. They kept putting themselves out there and doing better and better and better. And it was just like, it was freaking, it was driving me crazy. It was so intense. I couldn't believe the stuff that the women went through. And that was why I love The Wasp. I love The Wasp, Valerie. I'm so glad that you did something that really honored them in a way that's going to exist for so long, because, you know, it wasn't until Obama that they were even given their honorable rights, like their credit. That blew my mind.
And it was Carter who finally signed the act recognizing them as veterans, so they were eligible. Only then were they eligible for like VA benefits, and they're still to this day fighting over the right to be buried at Arlington.
Are you serious?
Yes, there are still some
kind of petition we can sign or something.
And their families, you know, so it's because Arlington is, they say, running out of space, and so they have to prioritize.
You know, boot some of them old generals out then.
I'm not going to
comment. I probably better not say that.
But yeah, I just love too how I read it with my daughter, and just to show her, especially with the images and everything, which make it so much more powerful, like what it was like then and how much women have really had to overcome. Because I think, you know, it's harder nowadays for girls to really understand why there's still that push for that, and to see how far we've come in that time and what they really had to face. I think it was just really powerful and eye-opening for her. And so yeah, like I love
60 years ago, right? Like 60, 70 years ago. It's not that long ago.
75 years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane when you think about it. It's like, it's so within a generation.
I believe there are still like one or two wasps still with us. Hello, AJ Starr, Lillian Yonley. They probably aren't watching, but hello anyway.
Well, if anybody knows them, share. They will. They will.
And hello to the Gunderson family. I was able to. I gave a poster to Catherine Sharp Gunderson for her 102nd birthday.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
And now she has passed that poster down to her family.
Oh, that's excellent.
So were you able to interview many of the wasps that you talk about in the book at all, or
not as much as I did for, say, you know, Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan, but there was a lot of you know, finding old PBS documentaries, digging through a whole lot of archives that only relatively recently were unsealed and declassified.
That's right.
Yeah, and just a lot of research.
That was
also trusting. I worked with a huge brain trust I always call them my Facebook brain trust. I have the best and smartest Facebook friends ever. Okay. And, I will ask a question. Hey, brain trust, what was your favorite Royal Air Force aircraft from World War II? And then they get in a big debate over the merits of the mosquitoes over the Spitfires, for instance. And I learn a lot from them. So, thank you all. Mm-hmm.
And that was, and I believe your brain trust is mentioned here on the last page of the WASP. You did give a shout out to a lot of people who participated in the creation of this comic book. A historian professor in Montana.
Yes, Ben Donnelly, good friend of mine, and he is a big military aviation fanatic. So I can rely on him for. I could rely on him for pretty much any information that was available on like the specifications of the P-38 Lightning, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, and what like what sort of like what was the paint job like on 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 the on the A-10s flown out of New Orleans? So questions like that.
All those little details that go in that make it so much more, real.
Yeah, that's fan art from my web hosting family. You can go to tapas.com. You can look up the real women of the U.S. military there and find a lot of bonus content like fan art.
Okay, I like how you included some of the fan art there at the end. That was really neat.
Yeah, that is Miss Fifi Nella. She is the official mascot of the WASP. Punching, him.
Punching the Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. And then I liked how you showed is this fan art right here where the plane is actually serving her breakfast?
Yeah, that was inspired by something Ben Donnelly had posted in response to a question I had about oh gosh, what if Jackie Cochran was allowed to fly in combat?
Ah, yeah. If Jackie Cochran were allowed to fly in combat, she probably would have kicked much expletive. She could make a plane do anything except cook her breakfast. Well, maybe she could have done that too. That is incredible. Yeah. And then also in the WASP, something that I didn't realize what the endeavor was until I undertook it was, and these are other fan arts, I'm assuming, right here.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. But you put their names and there's over 1,100 names in this book.
Yes.
You put their names in this book. I read every single one of their names, and it was incredible to see all the different names. I recognized some names from people like Snodgrass was in there. Like literally, the name Snodgrass was the last name of one of these pilots, and it was incredible to see that kind of enshrining for these ladies. Just remarkable. I thought it was so compelling and so awesome to do that, because again, this is something that's gonna go the test of time. And these ladies who contributed so much, World War II was a very decisive war that impacted the world, and these women contributed in ways that people have no clue. Like I had no clue whatsoever. But the fact that you put all their names in there, and just reading through them really, really, really drew it in to the realness and and it made me feel so much more, like attuned to the hardships and stuff. I mean, oh my gosh, I was like in the middle of the book, I was crying. It was crazy. I was like so mad. I was so pissed off as they were talking about the just I can't go into it because I'll start swearing. But oh, it was incredible. It was just incredible. I really loved the way that you went about this story, and I liked how you told it. I mean, it was pieces of stories of little pieces of each pilot with a significant story that would be told, and then it would go into, you know, what they were doing and how they were doing it, and then all of a sudden this little story. I think there was actually a black female who was rejected. They wouldn't even allow her to try out, and you know, and that was her little story.
Yes, and there is some debate over the motivation for that. Some say some say that she was turned down because they were already highly controversial, and you know, they allowed like Chinese American women to fly when the Chinese Exclusion Act was still on the books. And so I think they knew that if they let Mildred Hemmons Carter join, they'd be shut down. I think there was that fear there. Or it could have been just plain racism. We don't really know. And so that's one thing that I am committed to doing is avoiding speculation.
No, definitely don't avoid speculation. I was just drawing in the fact that this was this is how I like how the Wasp comic went. You had these little stories, you know, you know, just a panel or two. You were telling stories within a page or two panels, and so you were covering a lot of women's stories throughout.
Tied it all together to tell the full story of their experiences.
It was so perfect. It was so perfect.
I only wish I could have written a much bigger book.
I was just going to say, my daughter was asking more about a couple of the stories, like, for example, the can't remember her name, but the Chinese American who ended up
Yan Li.
Was that
Yang Li?
Yeah, and how her brother also passed away, and just she's like, I want to know more about that story, like just to know her whole story. And so yeah, that was the one thing. It would have been great to have learned a little bit more about each of them, but yeah.
And
Li Lao.
Hazel Yang Li Louie. That was actually her full name. She was married to another Chinese American pilot, hence the different last name. But it wasn't very long before she had died. So on most of her records, she's known as just simply Hazel Yang Li.
Okay. Yeah, she died November 25th, 1944. This was really cool on this page where you actually now, were these women who died in action? Is that why they have their death dates?
Yeah, these are women who died in service, as we call it. When we say die in action, we are referring to combat.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Y'all know I'm a civilian now. Crap.
Yeah, nope. Too.
It's all right.
So they died in service, and that's only because they weren't allowed in action, correct? They this was when they were transporting things of that nature.
That applies to anybody, because there's far more to running a war than combat. My grandfather, served in the army in World War II, building pontoon boats and amphibious watercraft. And he was what we would call wounded in service when one of the boats he was working on fell on him.
Oh, geez.
So he had a whole, he didn't have a Purple Heart. He had the insert. Well, actually, it was like two of them because two crushed legs.
Wow.
Yeah, he had the in-service equivalent.
Okay.
And I just wish I had them here to show you, but my mom's saying, I'll give them to you one day.
I know how that goes.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
And there's the Tommy Tompkins story here.
Oh, I loved this. I really love this, and I love the explanation of those tables. You know, I swear I've seen one before.
Yeah, they're up at pretty much like every VA hospital, at the Veterans Home in Pocatello, and you're going to see a table set like that at every military ball, you know, or everywhere or every every gathering of veterans, you know, a dinner party or something like that. And you're always going to see that table set there.
Yeah. Well, I liked how you gave an explanation as to what each item on the table represented. That was so cool, so insightful, and really, to me, now I know, you know, how to pay that table more respect the next time I see it, because I swear I've seen it, but I would have never thought anything of it. You know what I mean? Without that. And now if and when I see that table, I will know what it stands for and the respect to be given, which goes to anybody out there. The Wasp is a phenomenal comic book. It really is a great comic book that delves into the history and that talks about women in the service in World War II, things associated. I mean, just spectacular. The way that Valerie Finnigan put this book together, the people who contributed with her, everything came together so perfectly. You think it would have been written by the Almighty himself, except Valerie Finnigan is that awesome. You know what I'm saying? She's just that awesome. Serious, Valerie, it is a fantastic, fantastic book. You know, I really, you know, I love picture books. I love art. Art is my thing. I'm not great with the story side of things, but the books that move me, you know, they're the ones that I'm going to remember forever. And your pictures and your stories and the way that I just was blown away by the Wasp. I really was blown away by the Wasp. It was so impactful. I couldn't believe all the emotions I went through on that flight. It was incredible.
That flight. Yeah. So what does your daughter have to say about it, Lindsay?
Well, that's funny you should ask. She was just telling me, mentioned maybe she'd come in and talk a little bit, but she's in bed
I would
now,
love to talk with her.
Oh, no, I know. She would have liked
We'll make that happen. We'll make that happen.
But she really enjoyed it. She said she would have loved to have more like of the individual stories, like learned more about each person. But she really liked the illustrations a lot. She thought they were really fitting with the story, like it put her back in the time she felt. And what else did she say? She had a lot to say, but she really enjoyed it. And she read the first of the Tiger on the Storm, and she really liked that as well. She liked learning about his family, and she liked the illustrations a lot. My son enjoyed that one more. My kids are 7 and 9. My son is younger, so he liked that one, the battle and but yeah.
Well, you know, tell her I have got a lot more stories about the Wasp that didn't make it in the book. They're up right here.
Okay.
And I still have some of the books and documentaries that I have utilized for research.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
There's there are a lot of great stories, a lot of even like little insights about the ladies that, oh gosh, because I only had like a 60-page limit.
Right.
Yeah,
you need to do something like a what do they call when you do it, like another one?
Okay, volume 2. Yeah.
Yep,
volume.
yep.
Exactly.
That's what she asked
2.
for. She's like,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And give us those tidbits.
I am working on like I said before, I am now working on one about women who served in the Revolution.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that.
Oh man, I'm excited about that one.
Yes, me too.
And the Civil War.
Okay.
The Civil War gave us our first and only female Medal of Honor recipient.
Really?
Really?
Who is it?
Well, she was a field surgeon who because they let her in because she was the best at. They tried to say, well, okay, you're a doctor, but you can only work as a nurse. She proved she was just as skilled as any male doctor. So they put her to work on the battlefield. And because now this is one thing I especially love about the medical MOSs in the military, Army Nurse Corps, I promise you're going to get a book. But the impartiality that people in the medical military occupational specialties, that's MOS, had to exercise. Didn't matter if it was friend or foe. If he or she was bleeding, you treated it.
Really? Both sides of the conflict?
Yes. And so she was, even when it puts them at risk, she was captured by the Confederates when she had crossed the battle lines to perform to treat one of their own.
Oh wow! What a great story!
She just saved this guy's life, and that's the thanks she got for it. She was held for 4 months in like this little 4-foot cell.
Oh my gosh!
And they had, she was insistent on wearing the same Army uniform that everybody else in the Army was wearing, because she could move in it, because she could do her job in it. They insisted she wear clothing more fitting for ladies.
A dress? Was it a dress, probably?
Dress with stays and a hoop skirt.
Oh,
little bitty cell. She could not move in that.
Oh, heck.
And then it got even better from there. She was released in a prisoner exchange, and she went right back into it.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great story. Can't wait.
Because women are awesome.
Well,
that's what it is.
This was a time when women, more than ever, were forced to prove their worth. This was at the absolute peak of the abolitionist movement, which was headed up by women who eventually became suffragettes.
Suffragettes. Okay.
So they're used to fighting for something. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In fact, the abolition movement was tied very closely with the women's suffrage movement, with early feminism. Susan B. Anthony herself was an abolitionist.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Fanny Wright, Victoria Woodhull, who was the first woman to run for president. She supported abolition and giving women the right to vote.
Oh, awesome!
These weren't women. These weren't women who were fighting on a military battlefield, but
they were still fighting. They were still fighting. They were still fighting for the cause. They were still bringing about what we have today, which is more equality than we did then, because I am completely shocked. Like, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's important for girls to know how far we have come.
Yes, I agree.
But
yes, it is.
Also, how easily we can repeat history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent point. Excellent point.
And so
excellent point.
As long as there is this is my most political opinion.
Whoa, hold up. We got a political opinion coming. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. All right. You're the first and only person I've allowed to actually state a political opinion on this show. Okay. So let's have it. Let's have it. You can have it.
Totally nonpartisan. This applies to everybody. As long as there is any section of society that is being oppressed, there's always going to be one battle to fight or another.
Yes, agreed. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I believe that country song, you know, I forget who it was, maybe Trace Adkins, but you know, the one, you know, we can't come home till the last shot's fired. We really need to keep working toward that. I don't care what side of the aisle we're on, you know, and that we have to, oh gosh, like that old revolution flag with the snake that was all cut into pieces. Unite or die.
Yeah.
No. I never saw this flag.
No, the snake coiled up and about to strike is "Don't Tread on Me."
Yeah, okay, I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah.
The snake that is cut up into pieces. The motto on that is "Join or Die."
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Woo!
Wow.
That's absolutist.
Well, I mean, like in the context of uniting the colonies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This would have been the 13 colonies then?
Yes, the 13 colonies.
Okay. Wow, I never heard about this flag. I've never. Have you ever seen it, Lindsay?
I mean, the slogan sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've ever actually seen the
political cartoon that was eventually made into one of the flags that was used at the time.
Oh, wow. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, Stars and Stripes wasn't the only flag we had back then.
No, yeah, but I would, you know, it's funny because you would think that you would see this flag somewhere because that, you know, I can understand now that you've given me a time reference to it, I can understand the statement because back then, I mean, it was do or die. They were going up against the colonial powers of Great Britain, if I'm not mistaken.
And the best way to improve our country is, you know, we can have our differences, our disagreements, and so forth, but at the end of the day, we still all have to remember that we are friends.
Yes, right. We are brothers in arms, Americans.
Yep.
American.
Probably with more in common than differences.
Yeah. Yes, more in common. We are countrymen. That is fantastic. And but we are not just countrymen, we are countrymen and women. You know, unfortunately, that statement now kind of divides and it sucks.
Right. We all have to commit ourselves to watching each other's backs.
100%.
Guarding each other's liberties.
Yes. Yes. I am on board. I am on board, Valerie. I am on board. Man, this has been incredible. You're incredible. This has been so fun. Holy mackerel. So we've run up to our hour and a half. So I'm going to wind things down. Is there anything that we have not covered in relation? I want to make sure that people know where they can, find you, learn about your projects, learn about any comics that you're doing, where they can join. I know that we've hit on things already, but I want to make sure that we plug everything. Any place that you can think of, I would like to go through that now and make sure that people know where they can get Valerie Finnigan's work, because your work is so crucial. It's so important. What you're doing is just admirable. It is admirable.
Okay, like I said, you can go to tsosf.org. That'll give you that should give you all the information you need. You can find me on Facebook personally as Valerie Finnigan, or you can find the Stories of Service Foundation there. We are both on Twitter, and and TSOSF is on Instagram. Also, if you want to donate directly to some of the endeavors we're supporting, you can go to AITAF.org. That's Arts in the Armed Forces. Or you can go to the Women Veterans Social Justice Network. They are on Facebook, and you can donate to them from there. And the Gary Sinise Foundation. Won't be too hard to look that one up. But they have committed themselves to providing PPE and testing supplies in response to the pandemic.
Oh,
and not to mention, Gary Sinise is a big supporter of our veterans too.
Awesome.
And then also, I want to give a shout out to the Hero Initiative. They are everywhere. They also have a pandemic-themed anthology that is directly intended to support comic book creators, some of them legends, who find themselves in need. It's called Pandemics with an X, and it's more focused on the impact these creators have felt in the New York City area.
Oh, good.
Okay. And I have it. I highly recommend it. And yeah, this is not going to, what we're doing, it's not going to be redundant though. We have a bigger scope, and it is focusing on, direct accounts from, from people actually on the front line. So the focus is a little different. The scope is broader, and we are supporting different foundations, but there is no reason I can't give them their due. Go to the Hero Initiative and look up Pandemics, spelled with an X. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Valerie Finnigan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been a pleasure. Lindsay, would you like to say anything? I've kind of probably taken over.
That's okay. That's what you're good at. Nope, that's all right. I just was so excited to be able to be on here, Valerie. Thank you so much for joining us and letting us ask you these questions and sharing your projects with us. Like Jared said, I was really inspired and touched, and my daughter too, by your works. And so, this has been a huge honor. So thank you.
Quick question for you, Lindsay. The artwork you have in the background, did your kids do any of that?
Yes, that's all my children. Yep, I always, that's my office is just filled with their artwork. So just to remind me why I'm working. So
yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
All right, so y'all have a good night.
Yes, just stick with us. Just stick with us, Valerie. But everybody, if you get the chance, you heard it here first. You saw it all here. Go check out Valerie Finnigan. Get with her on the anthology. Check out Heroes Initiative. Just get out there. This is what we're doing. We're helping creators. We're helping them make it through these hard times. And trust me, it is totally worth it. Get into the marketplace and check out the Wasp. It is an incredible flight. You will enjoy it. Trust me, at the end, you will be like, holy Machiavelli. This is crazy. So thank you all for joining us, and have a gravy day.